Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs Postgame Podcast presented by DraftKings, America's top-rated sportsbook. Make sure you download the app and use the promo code CHGO when you sign up. No win today. First road game of the season. Reds beat the Cubs 7-6. The Cubs had to lead multiple times in this game and could not put out a win against the Cincinnati Reds. Easy for me to say. Luke Stuckmeyer, Cody Bellinger, Ryan Herrera. Things looked very good early on. Then also very early on, it did not look good. There were many opportunities to win this game. First, I want to start with this. Before we get to the second guessing of David Ross and talking about Drew Smyly and all the negative that will come with this game, because there are some things to question in this game, I will say this. All the negativity that we had in the pregame show about starting 1-2, now 1-3, which is not great. The guys that were being dogged all had good games tonight. Everybody was on Cody Bellinger. Get rid of him. Why are we paying this? Blah, blah, blah. Big home run. Yeah. First home run in a Cubs uniform. Mm-hmm. Everybody ripping Hosmer. Get him off the team.
Yeah, well,
he shouldn't even be here. Why is he even here? 3 hits tonight.
It's funny because the second chat from Grapefruit says going cheap on downturned veterans isn't doing the trick, is it? And it's like those are the guys that actually had good games today.
Those weren't the guys that cost him. No,
Dansby's not a cheap veteran, but the rest. Hosmer had a good game, and Mancini almost hit that home run that we thought was gone off the bat.
That would have been a difference maker.
Yeah.
Anyways, those guys.
Yeah.
And Master Boney was the third one to be made fun of, and he almost put the Cubs ahead in the.
Who made fun of him? I didn't catch that.
Pre-game.
Who?
A lot of people, and they were saying,
a lot of people,
specifically Joey.
Okay, that's
basically anyone.
No slander on my end.
Joey's a big fan of the beef.
Yeah.
Joey almost stole, which we'll talk about, but he almost stole.
Yeah, it was a very dramatic.
It was
finish.
Close, but I don't know. This one, I guess, if there's any positive takeaway, was the offense was good tonight. For the most part, you score 6 runs. Feel pretty good. I know 3 of them were because of Bellinger. But, they manufactured some runs. Obviously, the big 7th inning didn't work out the way that it should have, and I know we're going to talk about it, so I'm not going to go into it yet, but whatever. No, I'm not worried about Drew Smyly. It's 1 start. He was pretty good in the second half of last year. I don't know. This start sucks, and the only thing that – or this 1-3 start sucks because – I know that they're not going to beat the Reds every single game because that's baseball and that's just how things go. But B, you got to win as many games as you can against the Reds because if the Cubs are going to be in any kind of playoff race or anything this year, they got to beat teams that they are better than, and they're better. They're on paper they are better than the Reds. Yeah, and that's kind of like my taking point. At this point, as we just watched the game and now we're sitting here live on YouTube, like that's where I'm at. Is like this loss stinks. It really doesn't put me down more than I already was or bring me up any more than I was trying to be. But at the same time, if the Cubs miss the playoffs by a couple games, if that were to happen, we will look back at how many games they lose to the Reds, or at least we'll look at some of the games that they played against bad teams. And again, they have to beat the teams that they're supposed to beat. And they just didn't today. They blew 2
Joe
leads
thinks
today.
We should stop talking about the playoff race. Thinks it's done. It's been 4 games. Can't make this stuff
I never
up.
started talking about it, but that's just me.
I'm just talking about long term. All right?
No, but I like what you said about Smyly, like you're not worried. And yeah, the fact that he blew it after getting 2 leads, like that sucks for the Cubs today.
Against the Reds.
Against the Reds.
And he was not that these matter, but he wasn't great in his last Cactus League start.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not saying.
Well,
he wasn't good. No. I'm not defending him. I'm just saying it's one fucking start.
Yeah.
1 start.
And that's what I'm saying. It's 1 start, and it's another thing we talked about on the pregame show. It's like if you're getting this riled up about the first few games of the season, like if stuff like this is still happening into May.
Yeah,
I mean, even in the next couple of weeks, like if Smyly goes through his first 3 outings and is bad like this, then there's obviously reason for concern at that point. But the first one, he was so good with the Cubs the second half of last season that you kind of give him the benefit of the doubt a little bit. Like, now I'm not justifying a bad performance. Like, it was bad. Like, we know that. We saw it. Like, you gave up 2 leads. You have a 3-run eventual game-winning home run. And, I mean, he wasn't, that first inning he pitched wasn't great either after getting that. It was 3-0 after the first inning, I want to say.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not great from him. Obviously, you hope he turns it around. I think he can turn it around because he was good with the Cubs last year.
And he's a vet.
But today it sucks for him because it was bad, and obviously it sucks for the Cubs because they lost. Now, the one thing people are talking about is sending him back out there after the home run or after the Cubs took back the lead. And I understand the questioning it. I still sitting here, even, you can second guess everything, but considering, the Cubs just came off a day when Tyone only gave them 4 innings, you used, and then Julian Merriweather obviously having to use, or him only going 2/3, probably it makes having, Adbert go out again, that makes it more a requirement, kind of, I guess is the maybe not the right word, but you had to go to Adbert for 2 innings yesterday. You also had to use Rucker for an inning and a third. Like, it's not a depleted bullpen, but you're down a few arms. So, yes, I get why people are saying they should have brought Keegan in that inning, right?
Yeah.
To start the inning, don't even let Smiley go back out. I get it why you're questioning that. I'm sitting here. I thought, I didn't disagree with the decision when he let him go back out there. So I can't sit here in hindsight and say, oh yeah, he should have taken him out. Like, of course you could say that in hindsight because it didn't work out. But when it happened, I was okay with the decision to put him back out there. It just obviously didn't work out.
Yeah.
It's okay if you're going to first guess it. Second guessing is a lot easier to
so
do.
much
but
easier.
I understand,
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
I understand both sides.
If you questioned it at the time, like, I completely understand that point of view. I just can't say that
saying it in hindsight is just,
I don't want to say
honestly,
it in hindsight.
it's lazy.
Yes.
The reason that I'm with you on this part is we were talking, even in the first inning, like, Smiley wasn't giving up a ton of hard contact. He gave up those 3 runs, right? Okay, he walked India. Shouldn't have.
Yeah,
you can't start. You can't have a 3. You can't
Right.
lead 3-0 and have a leadoff walk. Okay. Spencer Steer, single, 79 miles per hour. Will Myers, 84 miles per hour, single. Tyler Stevenson, 75 miles per hour, single. Okay, Kevin Newman, 101.2 miles per hour, single. Then he struck out Fairchild and then got the ground ball double play against Maley. All right, and that was after it was 3-3. Mm-hmm. So, and that's kind of like how it went. But that's kind of like, at the same time, it is kind of the, in a way, Drew Smiley experience. He's not going to overpower you and get a ton of strikeouts or anything like that. His success comes off getting ground balls and, getting weak contact. And early in the game, he did get weak contact. But unfortunately, a lot of those balls landed in spots where the Cubs weren't at.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of the way it goes when you got those kinds of pitchers. Now, in terms of that inning when he gave up the 3-run bomb, it's not like that inning was going well. He hit a guy, and that was the second time he had hit someone. And again, Vossler's a left-handed hitter too, so it's lefty on lefty, and he gives up the 3-run opposite field bomb. That honestly, that moment was probably like, that was for sure the worst part of his start. But the fact that he had given up the 4 runs, but had been able to go into, what was it? He went into the 5th inning. I thought he had made up for like the first inning crap that went against him, the baseball gods in a way. So again, the Vossler home run was bad, but I would say early on, it wasn't necessarily completely awful to where you're like, why is this happening? Balls just landed in spots the Cubs weren't defended. He was getting weak contact. That's what he does. So, but as far as should they have brought someone in, I wasn't at a point where I felt like they should have, because he had just had a clean inning before that. So David Ross trying to get an extra inning, and after what you said about Tyone only going 4 innings yesterday, you're trying not to extend your bullpen. That's a big part of how the Cubs weren't successful at the beginning of last year, was how they overextended their bullpen all the time because they didn't get the starting pitching that they needed. So in a way, I hear what you're saying, and I basically agree.
Yeah. I would say this about the home run to Vossler. It's a lefty. You hope he can get that out. You hope that you really are hoping he can get a lefty out there and get out of it for all the reasons we just said. If I had a problem with a managerial move in this game, it was Wisdom bunting.
Yes, that's the big one.
It was not leaving him in to face Vossler. It was a guy named Vossler, folks. It wasn't. He didn't leave him in against Joey Votto. He didn't leave him in against the big red machine.
Right.
Yeah.
He left him in against another
Cubs
lefty, and I understand it's not ideal because the guy had loaded the bases or put the 2 on, but like that's an out you hope he can get. You're only asking him to get that 1 out there, get out of the trouble, you're done in the game.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe in hindsight, obviously bringing Keegan in there would have been the right play because we've seen how it played out.
Yeah.
But I think most fans watching, seeing Wisdom bunt on 3-1 with 2 on, we're like, what's going on here?
He was showing bunt 3-0. Like,
why? And don't tell me it was he got hit on the hand.
yeah,
That was an
not
option.
it.
And
It
then
was an
then
option,
he,
but like,
and then he
then why
swung
is he-
away in the 9th.
Yeah,
so
then like, why is
that
he in the
killed it.
game if
Well,
he
Right.
can't swing the bat?
And that's
Right.
why I'm sure, like, hopefully at some point in this show, reporters in Cincinnati will have asked him, we'll have, put it out there somewhere. We'll at least be able to talk about the decision and what went through David Ross's mind. But I'm with you guys in that if Wisdom's wrist is okay, which we saw in the 9th, he swung away freely. He was getting ground balls at third. It seemed fine. So if that wasn't the issue, and if it's the only other thing that makes some sense to me is David Ross just wanted him to put the ball in play, and like we talked about in the pregame show, that's not Wisdom. Like, you don't. I'm not saying I don't want to speak for David Ross, but it could have been something like he just wanted to get the ball in play. That's Patrick Wisdom was a big home run strikeout kind of guy, and in that position, like maybe getting a bunt down is the way you can trust that he's going to put the ball in play. He did. It just wasn't on the ground. So it's another call where it's like I didn't agree with it. I didn't agree with the bunt call, and I still don't. And obviously it didn't work out, so I don't anyway. That's just like trying to think through David Ross's mind, which I don't like to do because I'm not David Ross. But that's the only thing that, if it wasn't the wrist, that's the only other thing that somewhat makes some sense to me. But again, I didn't agree with it, and didn't work out.
I think I couldn't tell you anyone who agrees with like that, because it makes sense if you had a guy like Madrigal up there doing that, or Mastroboni, something like that. You had a guy who just hit 2 homers yesterday up there with 0 outs and 2 guys on. The only thing I can find a way to justify that call is like, okay, you had 2 guys on, and sometimes Wisdom can hit into some double plays. Okay, and that is it. But again, if you want to start off the at-bat showing bunt, fine, because that's what I thought all it was. But then you get to 3-0 and you still have it on 3-1. You still like, what? That's my thing. Like, if they're trying to catch him off guard or whatever, by the time it was 3-1, you're not catching anyone off guard. You're clearly showing you're still going to do it if you have a 3-1 count. Like, so that's, to me, that's the, like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? And that play honestly just changed the entire inning. Hosmer comes up next, strikes out the one of the few times he got out tonight, and just brutal. I mean, Torrens worked a walk, he got bases loaded, and then I can't remember who made the final out of that inning. But when you got 2 guys on there and a guy who's swinging the bat well coming into that at bat, like, it
was Gomes and Torrens, right?
Gomes made the final out.
So what are the reasons he could be deciding to do this? One would be, okay, the games, they're sort of going small ball these days, stealing more bases, move a guy over, so you're kind of going with that philosophy. Okay, I'm not 100% buying that. 2 would be what you were saying about the double plays with Wisdom. 3 would be he does strike out a lot. You'd like to at least move the runner over. You're worried that he's going to strike out. Maybe the matchup shows you that he's a very likely strikeout against this. Strikeout or double play against this pitcher.
Yep.
Okay, if that's what the numbers show. But I wouldn't be doing it. They mentioned this in the broadcast. I wouldn't be doing it at 3-0, and I wouldn't be doing it at 3-1. I'd rather see him stand there with the bat in his hand.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather walk the bases loaded. If it gets to, I don't like bunting with 2 strikes, but I just don't. 3-0, I would never do it.
Yeah.
3-0, I would have stood there with my bat in my hand.
Well, at that point, it's like if 3-0, maybe even 3-1, you pull the ball back. I think that 3-1 pitch was out of the zone anyway, but I think maybe you just pull the bat back regardless. I mean, I don't know. 3-2 count sucks too.
Yeah, and the 2 guys coming up, I just have less. Like Cody said, the guy just hit 2 home runs.
Yeah,
I'd rather see the double play happen from a guy that just hit 2 bombs the day before than I would see him bunt to the pitcher on a fly with those 2 guys coming up afterwards. It wasn't like the top of the lineup is coming up next.
Yeah.
I did say this, I think, after the first game or in the preseason, the pregame party we had at Country Club. This should be the first season where David Ross, the manager, gets evaluated.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's a terrible manager because of 1 game. Am I first guessing and second guessing a decision that may have impacted this game? Yeah. Yes. Did Gomes and Torrens have a chance to pick him up? Yes, they did, and they didn't do it. And
Torrens got the walk, but
yeah, but I mean,
I hear what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and did they still have a chance to win the game late? Yeah, they were still in it with some questionable decisions. But I think if you wanted to nitpick for sure, and not even nitpick, if you wanted to evaluate, you could put a star by this game and say maybe this wasn't between the bullpen move and then questioning whether or not he should have had wisdom bunting at least at 3-0. I think you could put an asterisk by this game and say, okay, this maybe wasn't maybe one of his best games of the year.
I will also put in there the back-to-back Luis Torrens pinch hit, Yan Gomes pinch hit. If you're looking for the ball to get put in play, it probably should have been Madrigal.
Yes.
Probably should have. If you're going to pinch hit for Rios in that situation, it's probably Madrigal. I mean, Rios was DH, so it's not like you're putting Madrigal at some position he doesn't know. Like, he's DH, and then, if you want to pinch hit from the next time around, like, whatever. But in that situation, like, that could have been a Madrigal pinch hit, get the ball in play. Because I don't remember off the top of my head what Torrens and Yan Gomes did right there, but obviously didn't work out.
Well, Gomes struck out, and Torrens walked. So I didn't mind that Torrens was up there. And I understand why Gomes came in because he pinch hit for Barnhart, so he was just coming in.
At that point,
But at the same time, I feel like he still could have used Madrigal and then just let Gomes go out there and catch. Because at that point, it was the biggest moment of the game. In my opinion, you got to get Madrigal up there, whether it was going to be for Rios or for Barnhart. Either one. It doesn't matter because you could still send Gomes out there. In my opinion, that would have been the best spot. One of those two would have been the best spot to get Madrigal a chance.
Yeah, well, that's what we talked about actually when we were sitting on the couch watching is like, now that I remember the full situation, it's 2 outs. You put the ball in play, anything can happen, right?
Right.
Madrigal's the guy that if nothing else, you can pretty much rely on him to put the ball in play.
Right.
So in that situation, maybe you do pinch hit him there because, as you said, or as we just talked about, it's DH. If you want to, if he gets, he walks, right? Say he walks. Well, you can still pinch hit Luis Torrens for Barnhart next, right? And you leave him out there, or you put Yan Gomes in, and that's another bench player that you lose. But if that's the biggest situation of the game right there, yeah, in my opinion, I probably would have felt better about Madrigal pinch hitting there just because you put the ball in play, things can happen, and obviously it didn't work out. The ball's never put in play. That's, runner stranded again in the 7th inning.
The chat was frustrated before the game. The chat on YouTube is frustrated after the game because it was a winnable game where you had to lead multiple times against a team that's going to be near the bottom of your division.
Yeah,
it was a game that you can look at and say, they should have won this game. They had many opportunities, whether it was the manager, the players.
Yeah,
a lot of people had a part in this game not being a win. We have a super chat from the Duke who's very upset for $20. I hate
Duke.
this team. I hate Jed. I hate Carter Hawkins. I've lost all faith in Rossi. Put a banner on Wrigley. Abandon all hope, ye who enter here. Pain.
I'm purposely
for the
not
super
reading.
chat.
I'm purposely not reading the YouTube chat comments tonight. Like I for my own mental health, I'm not gonna read it. Like
Craig's the positive one. Shohei's going to look good in the
I
Cubs
hear
uniform.
all you. I hear your frustration, and I'm right there with you. Just know that. But I can't do it. I'm sorry.
I did see there Collada.
Shout
I
out
was
to you,
worried that
Duke.
Collada wasn't going to be here, and he gave us the "we stinks."
There
he
he
is.
is.
I thought this might have been too much for him to handle.
No, we knew his.
No, this is Michael Collada's favorite part.
Well, that's what I thought, but I hadn't seen any comments from the Godfather yet. But
the Cubs losing a game is like Collada Super
he
Bowl.
was so
Collada just. I feel like
He
in a
was
way,
soaking it all
Collada
in.
wants to. Yeah. He wants to at least be able to come in here and look like the smart guy again. So like in a way, I get it. But yeah, no.
I just can't pick apart like P. Will. I think I'm not telling you how to Cub. I just think you're being a little negative. You're worried about the 2 strikeouts from Nico. Okay, he also started the game with a hit.
Yeah.
And
He's just defending.
I'm defending my who he got. No, but he was also mad at Bellinger because other than the 3-run homer, which he admits was a big play, he was garbage. And it's like, the guy, a 3-run homer. Like,
Yeah, like hitting
He
a
hit a
3-run homer
pretty
is
much
the
the rest
easiest
of the
thing
game.
to do. I mean, it's so you want to live if you're gonna live with that kind of mentality, man. Like, I'm gonna go home and pray for you before I go home or go to bed. Like, for fuck's sake.
hit the like button, everybody, though.
Yeah, hit the like
And,
button.
and
real
Cub
quick.
however you want to Cub. I'm not telling you how to do it. I'm just saying I think we can bring some positivity.
Joe had this
Yeah.
comment earlier that made me chuckle. Sorry, but one homer off an 80-mile-per-hour hanger isn't changing my opinion of Bellinger. The opinion that has been only based on literally 4 games. And now he has one good game in those 4. So
In fairness,
In 80
it's the
mile-
last few years, but
Sure.
it's only 4 games in a Cubs
Yes,
uniform.
and he's a 1-year deal. Yes, it was an 80-mile-an-hour hanger. Would I have been concerned if he missed it?
Yes.
Yes.
If he didn't
Yeah.
get
Didn't,
literally
and he
all
crushed
of it.
Tonight, anything that Hosmer and Bellinger did doesn't count because they played the Reds. That's how
That's
it
the spin
goes.
zone, yes.
That's the spin zone for all
Right.
all the haters. That's what they're gonna say. So he sucks because he didn't do well against Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff and Eric Lauer, all 3 very good pitchers, 2 of which are NL Cy Young candidates year in and year out. Hits a homer against the Reds. Doesn't count because it's the Reds. So I guess they have to play mid teams, and he has to do well off against mid teams for him to get some credit for something, according to sources.
Sure. Shout out to the Duke. The Duke's just making it rain around here. He's throwing cash at us.
Shout out to
The Duke
he's
says,
always
I am angry, and while I hate those things, I love CHGO, and we love the Duke. See, that's the
Yeah, I like the
positivity right there. We're going down. We're down in the cellar. We're going down the sewer drain with the rainwater tonight and the tears of a loss to the Reds, and then the Duke throws $40 at you.
God bless. God bless.
What a
the
guy!
dude.
What a guy!
He might be giving us more money, like as far as all of CHGO. I've watched the Bear Show sometimes, seen him dropping hundreds of bucks on them.
Cody, was that the first spin zone of the season?
That wasn't really a spin zone. I'm just talking about like that's how a lot of fans are looking at it. Probably like
But
once,
you use the term spin zone.
that's the spin zone for
There you go.
There it
people.
is.
Ladies and gentlemen,
That's-
we're back.
That's
That's what you're
that's
waiting
their
for.
spin zone against anyone who's trying to have any kind of optimism for Bellinger or even Hosmer.
Do you see Sean's comment? Sean says, I don't think this team is bad. I think they can win games, but not being handled like this. And he says he would rather have 2004 Dusty Baker managing the team
Wow.
right now. Now, he didn't say 2022 Dusty Baker. He won the World Series.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, again, don't rule a guy out because of some
Well,
let's all take a breath. I'm not saying it was a good night for David Ross.
It was not.
In my opinion, I haven't seen the reasons why he's done it yet. I would question some of the decisions that were made tonight. He knows billions more about baseball than I could even dream about.
yeah. At least
But it doesn't mean he couldn't have made a wrong decision tonight.
I mean, I'm glad he left Keegan Thompson in the game whenever he did bring him in. It helped that Keegan Thompson got quick outs.
Oh, we'll get to Keegan. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's about the only good thing I can say about David Ross tonight.
Dansby Swanson.
Well,
3
yeah,
more hits for
3 more
Dansby
hits.
Swanson. I mean, the
3
guy's
more
like
hits.
10 for 17.
10 for 17, yeah.
What more could you ask for? Well, I tell you what you could ask for. A ComEd energy efficiency program that's committed to helping families and businesses in the communities we serve save money and energy. ComEd offers free facility assessments that can find energy-saving opportunities whether it's lighting, HVAC systems, commercial, kitchen equipment, or industrial processes. An authorized engineer will work with you to develop a detailed assessment plan. Specific to your goals and needs, they can be done in person or virtually, and they last about 2 hours. Then within 3 to 4 weeks, customers get a report detailing energy efficiency projects they can start working on right away. Each recommendation will include an estimated energy savings, cost savings, project costs, potential incentives, and simple payback. Don't forget, get started saving money and energy today. For energy saving tips and to schedule your free facility assessment, go to ComEd.com/poweringbiz.
Guys, like I said earlier, I'm not reading the YouTube comments because of my mental health. And for that, the one thing I regret coming on the set without are my shady rays. That way I wouldn't have to look at if I were to look at the YouTube comments, then I could shade my eyes a little bit.
Or at least no one could see you looking at
Yeah,
the
or at
comments,
least no one could see me looking. Thank God I had them when I came in the office today. It was raining and I rode the scooter here. The first 7 minutes of my ride were not great. Anyway, shout out to them. They're my favorite sunglasses brand. You never understood why sunglasses were so expensive, so they set out to change it. You don't have to break the bank for quality sunglasses this fall because our friends at Shady Rays have you covered. Shady Rays are premium polarized shades featuring world-class optical clarity, substantial durability, and styles catered to everyone in every lifestyle. The best part about Shady Rays, they have the most insane protection program in all of eyewear lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your shades on day one, they told us they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked, dropped in a lake, off a cliff, anything, they'll replace them. Even with that strong of a protection program, they still manage to make quality that can tell you holding in your hand seems just as good as any expensive pair that I have ever worn. Shady Rays customers seem to agree with over 200,000 5-star reviews. Shady Rays also provides 10 meals to fight hunger in America with every order placed and have donated over 20 million meals to date. They stand by their product and hold their team and told our team if anyone has a problem, they'll throw a profit out the window and do what it takes to get it right. Free returns and exchanges. Stucky, I know you break shit all the time. This is perfect for you. You either love the shades or Shady Rays will pay to ship them back. That's it. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is running their deepest deal of the season. Use code CHGO for 50% off 2 or more pairs at ShadyRays.com. Buy one, get one free. You get 2 pairs for as low as $54. Redeem only at ShadyRays.com, where you can find all their newest and best shades. That was kind of tough. I hadn't read one of those in a while.
It's not an easy one. P-Will, I'm not telling you how to cub. You cub however you want to cub. I understand some people are angry. You said 99% of Twitter is
And
mad
if Twitter said it, it's obviously true.
Let me tell you, Twitter's an angry place.
Yeah, man.
Twitter's an angry place.
Twitter's not full of normal people.
We did get another super chat, though, bringing back the optimism, bringing back the vibes to us. A super chat from Breezy. Saying,
Richie D.
Wes
Breezy.
Nasty incoming tomorrow. Hold the line, everyone. Hold the line. We'll get to Wes Nasty's big matchup coming tomorrow. Yeah, imagine the chat if Wesneski doesn't shove tomorrow, Joe. It's not going to happen. You don't have to worry about that. We got his bobblehead right here from our friends at Foco.
Dude,
right here on the set. It's a Wes
put
Nasty.
that energy out there,
Nasty
man.
bobblehead.
Jeez.
Now, I know that we are a sports organization, and we like to call ourselves sports fans, sports writers, a group of diehards that have all come to work at one place, but sometimes we break news. Sometimes we break news even when we're not trying. And we have breaking news tonight. We have the mayoral runoff election coming Tuesday night here in Chicago, the replacement for Lori Lightfoot. And we've sat here and we've decided we don't know what's going on. We thought, who's going to vote? Is it going to be Vias? Who's going to win this big runoff? Aunt Lori's leaving. She's gone. CHGO is becoming the first network in Chicago to announce we have declared a winner. We have declared a winner in the mayoral runoff.
Seen enough.
We've seen enough. We've declared a winner. Keegan Thompson has been elected mayor of Chicago in the runoff. Everybody else was a distant second. Lori Lightfoot was third. Congratulations to Keegan Thompson, the new mayor of Chicago. Declared first right here on CHGO, I believe, originally by one Cody Delmendo and the Delmetrics
Delmetrics decided
System.
It also was decided when he plunked Andrew McCutcheon like literally a year ago.
That's right.
But whatever. Keegan Thompson for
Keegan
Chicago
Thompson.
mayor.
He was the mayor. He shoved. He deserves to be mayor. 3 1/3. And yes, you can argue he should have been
Don't
in
let
earlier.
the facts get in the way of a good story, by the way.
But the point is, he came in and shoved.
He did. He was the one,
was
outside of the
painting.
offense, breaking out a little bit tonight. Yeah, he was great, and he saved the bullpen.
The journalist in Ryan is cringing right
Yes.
now.
So stupid.
Ryan is just
Bum,
he's
bum, bum, bum.
not having any. He's not vibing with us right now,
Oh,
Stucky.
man.
What the
Richie
hell?
by a landslide.
That was
That's right.
hilarious. I was wondering what he was talking about. Like, what are you doing?
It's like, what is this breaking news that's happening?
Breaking news.
We've called the election the
I
night
kinda-
before. You don't even have to go to the polls tomorrow. I shouldn't say that because you probably should.
You should probably go to the polls.
So confused.
I want to say one thing. You know what? If you were one of the people, I'm talking about in the comments right now who's complaining about the front office and the spending and the ownership after 4 games, and sure, it's been a year since you could be disappointed in that. You know what? Don't come back in the chat and be hyped up when they start winning. All right.
Or you know what? Just come back in the chat and be
No,
hyped.
you
come back in the
come
chat.
watch.
Don't listen to Joey.
But don't, if you're gonna sell off this team and every player on this team and all of the hopes for the entire season after 4 games, then I'm gonna make my own list of all the people in the chat that are doing
Receipts.
that. And when you guys come back,
keeping receipts.
I'm just gonna remember, hey, 4 games into the season, you thought we should stop talking about the playoffs. So this is your official stance. You go ahead and sit on that, but we're gonna remember that.
Yeah, Joey
fair.
will remember it. But do come back in the chat and
Michael Collada says
Talk.
Ricketts for mayor. He won't spend any tax money. All right.
I needed that. I personally needed that for my own happiness. Thank you,
I just
Godfather.
listen. We've talked about some of the guys that got off to a slow start, and by slow start I mean the first 3 games of the season. Give them a shot tonight. Some of them had very good games. Hosmer had 3 hits. Bellinger had a 3-run homer. We pointed that out. You know who else people were down on? Keegan Thompson in the Cactus League. When we were saying he might not make this team, we were getting reports. The Cubs are thinking about sending him down. Why is he only throwing in the 90s? The guy came in today and shoved.
Yeah. Well,
He looked great.
The velo was up on opening day. He touched 95 on opening day. I don't know what he touched, like the highest he touched today, but yeah, just went out there and got outs. He got a couple strikeouts. He's becoming that dog in the bullpen that David Ross can rely on. And we in pregame we talked about Assad blowing that inning. We talked about Merriweather. Like Keegan Thompson, he's cementing himself as one of those guys in that bullpen that David Ross can feel good about.
And
That's if there's any good thing you can take away
Yeah.
from tonight to go into the next 2 weeks, you at least know that David Ross and Keegan Thompson, Keegan Thompson is in that circle of trust, and that's what David Ross is trying to find right now is those people he can trust in those big, whether it's the high leverage spots or just guys who go out there and give you multiple innings, which is big in today's game. So that's the one positive for sure tonight.
yeah, I think. Well, so you asked Keegan today. Touched
call him the mayor, it's all right.
93.3. He averaged 92
You
and
can
a
call him
half.
Mayor Thompson. It's
Yeah,
all right.
he averaged 92 and a half on the 4-seamer, which you want to be higher.
Yeah.
I want to say it's his yearly average last year on the 4-seamer was 93 and a half, or something like that. So you want it to be higher, but when the results are good, you don't argue with it. Like he was painting the outside. I think his last strikeout might have been 93, like right on the outside corner, something like that, to get a guy looking. But he's looked good, as you both mentioned. He looked really good today, and I think one of the things that goes, and maybe it just isn't in the general mindset of people when they see what Keegan does today, is also the fact that he came in middle of the game and closed everything out. David Ross didn't have to go to another reliever, which means he's going to have a fresh, pretty much fully fresh bullpen tomorrow. Yes, Keegan will be out, but now Ross has full use of the rest of the weapons that are in that bullpen. So that means, if it's a game where Michael Fulmer can come in, well, you didn't have to use Michael Fulmer today. You didn't have to use Brad Boxberger today. All these guys that Ross probably will end up relying on a good amount, especially like high leverage type innings, didn't need to be used today. Because if you think about it, it's a 1-run game. So these are pretty decently high leverage innings against the Reds today. Keegan took care of all of that, made sure that if they're back in the game tomorrow, if they have a late lead, like those guys are going to be able to be used. And that's just one of the underlying things of what a good game this was for Keegan, just the fact that he went in, cleaned everything up, and made it to the end of the game, let the rest of the bullpen rest for the night. I think that's huge, but it may not get talked about as much. But that's big for the bullpen, especially for tomorrow, Wednesday, the rest of the series.
And that's a big deal too, because like we talked about in the offseason, and we talked about how bad things were at the beginning of last year. The Cubs weren't getting their starting pitching wasn't going deep into games, and that took a toll on a bullpen that was pretty good when you look at it from a season-long perspective. So when you're getting most of the starts that we've seen so far, outside of Tyone and Smiley, if you're getting those performances from Stroman and Steele and hopefully Wisniewski tomorrow, and then hopefully those other guys bounce back, like if you're getting consistent starting pitching, that really helps the bullpen. So yeah, it is very key for guys, for all five of them to be able to at least go 5 innings. And to me, that is why I was okay with the fact that they let Smiley try and get out of the 5th. That's why I was okay with it. So.
Sean points out, very spicy chat tonight. Very spicy. This chat is not ready for a losing season. They don't like a 1-3 start one bit. They don't like Joey telling them what to do either. Let me tell you.
I'm sorry.
Back at Joey.
I am sorry, guys. Whoa, was that response hot?
Please, in the chat, do not attach me to anything with Joey tonight.
I mean,
we even got a thumbs down. I mean, I'm going to put that one on Joey.
I just caught it from all angles in the chat. Sorry, guys. How about you want?
Oh, now they're showing the love. Oh, the
Duke's
Duke.
back. The Duke's back.
He's up to $50 for the night.
Do we have to say the Duke's name now for like, would it be $50?
Duke.
That'd
be $50.
50
yeah,
days.
that's $50. The Duke.
Shout out Mike Dubs. Shout out
Duke.
Gerard.
On the list.
And who was the 199er? The pregame show.
Man, that was you guys.
And I just want to say, Joe did say,
was
the
it
199er was the Duke.
I think it was Joey.
Was it the Duke also?
No, it was the Duke.
It was the Duke on the last game of the season.
All right, the Duke. So he's got like 200.
The pregame
games,
show.
like that?
Oh, that one was the pregame show, and then we had a Gerard with the 162.
Yeah, but who was
Oh
the
my
$200 one in the pregame show?
I thought it might have been
Preseason show. I think it might have been the Duke.
I don't remember.
Dude,
But
was
I
it
do
you?
just want to say, for the record, Joe, for the record, P. Will supporter and everybody, you guys, it doesn't matter what you say right now. If the Cubs are in the playoffs, we're all along for the ride. All right, the receipts are being burned and thrown out the window. Okay, who cares? Come together.
Anyway,
Look at Joey.
And we'll all laugh in October.
the Duke said.
Yeah, the Duke, another super chat.
The Duke said, "Sounds like Joey trying to tell us how to cub. Feast or famine, brah. I don't do level-headed. It's more fun to ride the roller coaster."
Oh, I'm okay. That's it. I'm with that.
Don't
See,
tell
now
him-
that's
don't
why I
tell him
said
how
I
to
shouldn't
cub.
tell you. I would usually tell you go down the middle, but if that's how you like to ride, but I also don't like roller coasters. Cody likes to ride the roller coaster now.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows I'm the one who tries to be as optimistic as I possibly can, but yeah, I'm not going to lie and sit here that I feel okay about a 1-3 start. I'm not like saying all these guys suck like some of you are, at least according to what you guys are saying about the chat, because I ain't looking at it. But
that's good.
It is also just 4 games, like Joey said.
Also,
so.
Collada, he said 4 games in, and you're worried about saving the bullpen, considering the fact that they used 5 of an 8-man bullpen on Sunday. Yes, you should be kind of worried about saving the bullpen. You should be thankful that Keegan Thompson saved the bullpen for at least a night.
Yeah.
It's 4
There's
games
an off
in,
day.
but,
There's an off day on Thursday, so that'll help too. But again, they have to find a way to get 5 innings out of at least 5 innings out of every starter, and it shouldn't be hard with the guys that they have. That said, Drew Smiley, he's got to bounce back the next one, because Kyle Hendricks is coming, man. He's coming, and to me, that's his spot if Drew Smiley doesn't get better, because people will riot if Hayden Wisniewski is taken out of the rotation, and I might be leading the riot. So unless Wisniewski struggles, which I'm not putting that energy out there, but right now I would say at this moment Smiley would be the guy out when Hendricks comes back. Again, we'll talk about that when that comes. But the most discouraging thing related to Smiley is like it was against the Reds. And I know it's the first start of the year, but I don't feel great about him, man. So
the Duke is throwing money at us and also funny comments. He said that Michael Collada is his spirit animal, which should be a shirt. If I were obvious shirts and I had just one-liners, that would be a shirt I would start working on.
Quick news from Megan Montemurro of the Chicago Tribune. So I guess Patrick Wisdom got X-rays after the game. Patrick Wisdom says his post-game X-rays came back clean on his left wrist. The wrist felt tender when swinging, he said, and is sore from the hit by pitch, but he'll be okay. Nothing about the bunt decision. Hopefully that's coming. But as far as the wrist and what, when he got hit, we were like, there's no way he's staying in. And the fact that he did surprised us. So I guess, it's always a good thing that X-rays come back clean and that he thinks he'll be okay.
Pitch hurt his wrist and the bunt hurt our soul.
I wonder if, once...
Not his fault.
Once you give it a night and the swelling kind of kicks in,
Yeah.
I wonder how it'll feel tomorrow.
Super lucky. I don't know how it didn't break his wrist, but thank goodness it didn't.
I would have retired at that point.
Oh.
That happened to me.
I tweeted that. I was like, if I was at the plate and that happened, I'd be done. I'd be like, sayonara, peace out.
Tough to stay. I give him credit. It's tough to stay in that game.
Yeah.
We do have injury updates, by the way. Seiya, 2 at-bats in a sim game in Arizona. 4 innings of defense, the first at-bats he's had in a game since he injured the oblique, and he could come back. He'd be eligible to come back, we think, the 6th. Is that the right date? April 6th?
Seiya, yes. April 6th, when he's eligible.
Eligible, and when he will come back, 2 different things. But he is clearly moving in the right direction, even though they said that they would move him along very slowly. So we'll see how it goes, but that's good news. Brandon Hughes, live BP on Sunday, scheduled to throw again on Wednesday. I had a question that I heard. I think it was Michael Kopech, by the way, talking after his start. He was asked some questions on the South Side today about the pitch clock. And the pitch clock, I don't know if they were trying to give him an excuse, but he gave up like 5 home runs. Does the pitch clock allow things to snowball on a struggling pitcher, or vice versa on a pitcher that's rolling? Does the snowball roll faster because of the pitch clock? And I wondered that as I was watching Smiley kind of get off to the meh start tonight.
Yeah.
It's your first start in the season. You've got a 3-0 lead, and
it's the first pitch clock game he's ever done. And he's
he struggled with it in spring training.
He did, yeah.
So I'm not making an excuse for him. I'm just curious if it will play out that way, at least early in the season for some guys. Will we see some really bad innings from some pitchers because they're just not able to step back, slow it down? Now, I'm not saying that's even what happened to Smiley today. I'm just curious if that would possibly be a trend. Because it did seem like that happened to Kopech in a little bit of the White Sox game that I saw. It's just one of those rule changes that you don't necessarily expect to see some things happen. I saw somebody else mention in Twitter tonight saying there's been a lot. I think Brendan Miller said it seems like there's been a lot of bloop hits. Could that be because of the no shift and you have to have your foot on the dirt and you can't position the way you want, and now there's more of a gap between the outfielder and the infielder? Will we see more duck snorts, if you will, or little blue pits? Could be a consequence of both.
The Cubs are due for some, man. Shit. That's all I can say.
They've had a lot against them the last few days. I'll give you that.
And Master Boney's is freaking, like, the baseball gods owe us tomorrow. They owe us big tomorrow. That's a tie game. That's a tie game.
Ryan, I've got a question. I don't know what you know about this, but what's the word on Morel right now? A lot of Morel chatter in the chat right now. I mean, and I know that it might not be something we have an update for, but can you update the fans? Is there no update?
I mean, he's getting a chance to play every day in the minor leagues, and I think people forget that he struggled mightily the last couple months of last season, that he didn't look great defensively. Yes, he is a vibe. He is a really great dude, and he's fun to talk to, and he brings great energy to the team, and that's I think what draws people to him so much. And I get it, but let's not forget that he was a 22-year-old when he came up, solely came up because they needed someone that could play multiple positions. Did really, really well to start out, and had a bad last month plus of the year. Like he wasn't hitting the ball very well. He struck out a lot, and his defense wasn't great. I think we're forgetting we're forgetting that he's 24. I don't, whatever how old he is.
He was like
23
last year,
He's
so I think
23
most
now.
he's 23 right
Right
now.
now he's
Okay.
23.
So
he turns 24 on
be in June.
in May.
And I just think it's something that a lot of the
But-
fans are curious about in general.
Yes, and I get it because the thought is that he had really good moments last year, and if he develops the right way, he could be a pretty valuable piece for this team. But he's not going to develop the way you want him to right now. There's just too much that first of all, there's too much that he still has to work on and improve at AAA, where he just has not played very much his entire time in the minor leagues. And there's a lot of guys on this roster that right now need playing time in the big leagues. And right now is the time when you want to keep as much roster versatility as you can.
Yeah.
Later in the season, I mean, we talk about it with like Eric Hosmer. If he's not performing, he's $720,000. Like that's not a tie that the Cubs can't cut, right? But right now, it does make sense if the Cubs are trying to keep as much versatility throughout the organization as they can, because if you have guys like not versatility, sorry, they keep as much depth in the organization as they can. Because if you got a guy like Christopher Morel sitting in AAA, well, hey, someone like Patrick Wisdom gets hurt and he goes in the IL. Hey, maybe you can think about bringing Morel back up.
Yeah.
It's just. I like Morel, and I think he has potential to be a really good player and be valuable for the team, and I understand why people like him so much. I just the calls that we need Morel back up right now. I see him all in the chat. It's like, no, like he's like 3 years younger than me. He did not have a good end of last season. Let him develop. Let him just do really well and like conquer AAA. Even if that doesn't happen, like let him get some time to play every day. Let him get into season mode before you start putting a bunch of pressure back on him, because he's 23 years old. Like there's plenty of time to play Morel, and there's guys right now that are going to need to play that it's just going to take away chances for Morel to develop, which I don't agree with.
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of talking about it off air, and it's been a big topic. I'm okay that he's down there. Yes, I keep going back and forth with it because it's like, he just has a higher ceiling than some of these other guys, but I do care about his long-term development. And we talked about before about some of the guys from the old core. Like, did the Cubs call up some of these guys way too early and stuff like that? And maybe that's why they didn't develop into what we hoped they would be. Stuff like, you can look in hindsight at some of those guys from the old core and think, did the Cubs call them up too early? So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. There's certain reasons that I want him up here, but at the same time, I'm also like, I understand why he's down there. The people who don't understand why he's down there, I just don't think you're like, I think it's like you woke up like last Thursday and you were like surprised to see he wasn't on the opening day roster meaning that you didn't see that what his strikeout rate was in the last month and a half, or even his struggles in the spring too.
Makes sense. He is like a super likable player, like how Ryan said, and like he's a super
Very
magnetic
likable,
guy.
man.
So it makes sense to me that the fans like are, we want to see him up. We want to
The
see him
smile,
up.
the hugs, the vibes.
100%.
I would have said even if
and we also said on the season preview show that we don't expect Morel to be down there for 3 months. I said something around, at most a month. I thought he would be up here pretty quickly. So
And I still don't think that's wrong. I think he could be up here. I just saw someone in the chat, and I haven't checked to make sure that's accurate, but someone said he struck out already 50% in the AAA. So it's like, it's not like he's
right.
I mean, he hit the home run. I think he hit a double off the wall or all this different stuff, but he's also still striking out. Yeah. Like he still struck out a lot in spring training.
Right.
So that's just one thing that he's got to figure out, because again, he had a hard time not striking out against major league pitching last year. There's just not enough of a sample sense to show us that, okay, like that strikeout rate's going to go down. He's seeing the ball better, all this different stuff that doesn't make me believe that he can come up tomorrow and that strikeout rate, he's not going to be striking out as much as he did. Because we know he struck out a lot last year, and that shows you that Major league pitching is tough, and especially when they get more data against you, they understand how to attack you, and that makes it. So again, he had a great first few weeks, but then as they got more and more data and figured out how he ticks as a hitter, pitchers got better game plans on how to attack him, and he didn't adjust to it. Yes, could he do it? Could he adjust to it in the majors? You'd hope so if he was up right now, but he's in the minors. He's playing every day. He's still striking out a lot, so you hope he improves on that in AAA right now before you bring him up and see if he can do it again in the major leagues. I like Morel. I don't think he should be in AAA forever, but he has things to improve on, and people are like forgetting that he did have pretty big flaws in his game last year. And let's pump the brakes. Like he could still be a special player.
Because Morel wasn't on the team is not the reason they lost this game tonight. Morel had nothing to do with losing to the Reds tonight. You can be pro Patrick Wisdom. You can be pro Rios getting a shot to get some opportunities and still be pro Christopher Morel. It doesn't have to be one or the other at this point right now. Yeah. Nobody has proven that they're the guy. I was very much into Morel making this team before spring training started. At the end,
Same.
Halfway through the offseason, I thought, man, Morel's going to be on this team. Yeah. After what he did, he deserves a shot. You know what? I thought the same thing about Sampson, but then things started to play out, and guys were added to the roster, and I looked at it and said, I can see how they're going to make this decision, and it might not be the worst thing for him.
Yeah.
Kyle Schwarber went down and got to be better. Ian Happ went down, turned out to be an all-star and a Gold Glover. Guys can go down Javi went down, came back and was a better player. It doesn't mean he did anything wrong. There were flaws in his game. Are there flaws in the games of the guys that are up right now? Yes. But just live with it. See how it plays out for a couple months. If Morel deserves to be back, and when he deserves to be back, he'll be back on the team. I think it could end up being a really good thing for him, especially if he's struggling right now out of the gate. But again, that's a small sample size too. So everybody just...
He's not struggling out the gate as far as the hits and stuff, but...
Just relax. Every roster, I know we're all worried about, can this team compete for a wild card, whatever. Let it play out a little bit. Every single... that is what makes... While I'm questioning it, I'm also saying that is what makes Cubs fans great. Mm-hmm. Because this chat is full of people that are furious about a bunting decision in a game against the Reds in Game 4 of the season. They're mad that Drew Smyly was left in to face a guy I'd never heard of who was playing for Joey Votto, who happened to be a lefty. They're mad about all the... They're furious that Morel's down in the minors right now. You know where they're not getting that type of passionate reaction? Cincinnati, where they had nobody in the stands at the game because their owners basically said, like, whatever. You guys do whatever. You're going to come anyways. Well, they're not, but
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Game 4, you see the passion in our chat about a game against the Reds, and we've got a whole season to play, an entire summer, an entire spring. Yep. We're going to have so many of these post-game shows for chances to be happy and to be sad, but it is what makes Cub fans great, is that there is passion. So for every time that Joey tells you to shut up, and I'm not putting words in Joey's mouth.
Did not say that.
He didn't say that. Evil Wax is right. Everybody needs to take a breath. It's the 4th game of the season, but I do appreciate that you're this passionate about Cubs baseball.
By the way, Niren said 33% K rate in AAA right now, so
it's right around Patrick Wisdom level. Last year at least.
I'm gonna go ahead and just look at it myself, just so I can verify it. But that tells you like it's obviously still it's early for them too, but it's still it's still relatively high for.
Don't even look it up. Don't let the facts get in the way of a good story. Let me tell you what is a good story. Fubo TV, 140 plus live channels of sports, shows, movies, and news. Stream live TV from any device. Watch the most Chicago sports for the lowest price. Start watching immediately with a 7-day free trial. No contract, no cable company, no hassle. Sign up and start watching. 1,000 hours of cloud DVR included at no extra charge. You can watch your local teams while traveling. They've got the Frozen 4 coming April 6th to the 8th. Most importantly, Cubs fans, here it is. You can watch Marquee right on Fubo TV. Use the link in the description to sign up for 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro. I got it. It's on my phone. I can watch the games. Here's what happened to me over the weekend. My wife was watching something else, and I didn't want to leave the room because I was eating. We were in the same room. She'd already started watching Emily in Paris or whatever that show is, okay?
Emily in Paris.
Yeah, well, I say it's Paris because it's Emily in Paris.
Okay.
It rhymes. So it depends on how you would.
David Bodie is in the very first episode of that show.
Really?
He is, yeah. They show the David Bodie like highlight the Grand Slam, very first episode of that show, because she's at a bar in Chicago and there's like she
wasn't in Paris.
No, in the very first episode of that show, when that came out, like I don't know, 2-3 years ago. Yeah.
For instance, we didn't call it Joey in Paris when we did our huge documentary on Joey going.
Yeah, and some people would say that's a missed
Paris.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Some people would have said that was a missed opportunity.
Anyways, she was watching it, and you know what I did? Fubo TV, not a single hesitation in the stream. Like the cleanest stream of the Cubs game.
Ooh.
I watched the Cubs game while she was watching that. Had it right on my phone. Took it outside. It was nice outside. I thought, you know what? I'm going to get the patio furniture out a little bit. I was doing that. I had it popped up on my phone. I was listening to it. Went over, checked out at Bats. So so far, I've loved it. I think it's great. And there's all kinds of channels. You get to pick which channels you're interested in. But for Cubs fans, it's huge specifically because of Marquee is on there.
That's pretty sick. And you get a discount, too?
I mean, this is the group of people that would like Fubo TV. This specific chat. Like, if you couldn't watch the game tonight and you're texting your brother-in-law, what's your Xfinity login for the Marquee app? Cough, cough. That's what I was doing. This is what you should be doing. You should be getting a Fubo TV login. I mean, it's easy money.
I told my nephew, he's at Butler. He's a freshman at Butler. I'm like, you can go to your night classes and watch the game. You could sit in class, ignore the professor, take down and look like you're taking notes, get your attendance taken, and watch the game.
Uncle Luke told me I should go to class and just watch a Cubs game, Mom, just not pay attention.
Yeah. I barely made it to class, so he's doing better than I am for sure.
Yeah,
much better.
If he's trying to get in this industry, it doesn't matter if you go to class or not, to be honest with you.
He's not. I told him not to. Anyways, tell us, Ryan, about DraftKings UFC coming up, because that is going to be hot.
Oh, yeah. So this Saturday, the action-packed UFC 287 fight card finishes with an epic rematch. Longtime rivals Alex Pereira and Israel Adesanya will face off again for the middleweight title. Throw down for your shot to win big with the DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of UFC. New customers can bet just $5 on a pre-fight money line and get $150 in bonus bets if their fighter wins. Plus, all customers can get closer to the octagon excitement with DraftKings Same Game Parlay. Combine multiple UFC 287 bets into one for a shot at an even bigger payout. We were talking about it on the pre-show earlier. Joey, you mentioned it. Israel Adesanya to win KO, TKO, DQ plus 300. Kind of like it. I like Adesanya. I mean, he's a favorite to win in this fight. He's minus 135, just straight up money line. So if you think Israel Adesanya is going to win by KO, TKO, or DQ, you got plus 300. That's good juice, and I like it. So that's something that interests me, Adesanya, to win by TKO, KO, or DQ. So download the app now and use code CHGO. New customers can bet just $5 on a pre-fight money line and get $150 in bonus bets if their fighter wins. This Saturday at DraftKings Sportsbook with code CHGO. That's UFC 287. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
Ryan, can you do like a Bruce Buffer impression?
I can't do a Bruce Buffer impression.
Okay. We'll work on it for
we'll work on it. Maybe show. Luke. Well,
I don't think Luke knows who that is.
Are you talking about Michael Buffer?
It's his brother.
Really?
Yeah.
His brother, Bruce Buffer's UFC.
He's now the bigger. He's now almost the bigger.
No.
Well, he doesn't have that.
You can't even say.
He doesn't have Let's Get Ready to Rumble with all the same. But
he copyrighted that garbage.
He as his own like face is very, very popular now amongst the UFC fans.
Similar to you, we got another super chat because of you, $5. Joey's back and we're just bringing in the money tonight. I can't believe Joey told us we all suck and we should shut our stupid faces. Just kidding. It's all love, Joey. The Duke now up to $60. $60 on the night. And by the way, P. Will Supporter apparently is a classmate of my nephew at Butler.
Oh.
How about that for small world?
You need to tell your nephew to like.
Maybe it is your nephew.
No.
Like, get some ice cream or something to feel better.
What if it's his nephew? What if P. Will supporter happens to be your nephew secretly?
That's possible, but P. Will supporter watches a lot of Bulls.
He does watch a lot of Bulls.
My nephew does like the Bulls, even though he's from Milwaukee.
Weird.
Well,
Honestly,
he grew up a Bulls fan, but now the Bucks are good, so I'm sure he doesn't hate the Bucks necessarily. But he does not have a jersey of the Bucks. Right? He's had a D Rose jersey. All right, so we get to who you got. I have no idea where we're at on the clock. We're in an hour already? Oh, time flies when you're angry, huh?
Let's run through it real quick.
All right, who you got?
Or miserable.
We all started off 1-0 because of my generosity.
Yeah.
And giving
You guys
nature
caught
on
a break
opening day.
tonight. That's all I'm going to say. Caught a big break tonight.
Yeah, we should start that off. Joey
had Master Boney.
has the automatic Master Boney pick unless someone else picks it for him. And Master Boney came up in a huge moment, almost stole who you got. But he
Almost
didn't.
stole it. I would have given him.
it,
I would have given him a 2-0 start. I would have given him a 2-pointer.
Should have been over
even though
right
he
then
didn't
and
ask
there.
for it.
The whole season should have been over.
Master
right then and
Boney
there.
being picked tonight when he was not in the lineup was almost like my Esteban Quiroz pick. It was worthy of like 2 or 3 points.
Yeah.
Are you working? Are you with us tomorrow night too?
Hopefully.
Look at him.
I'll
bailing
at
on us
least
already.
be here. But Bulls are playing tomorrow, right?
Oh,
okay.
excuse me.
Do they remember that you were
Excuse me.
on the Cubs show first?
It's
Yeah.
true. Well, I mean, all the shows actually started at the same time.
They were just borrowing
Excuse me.
Whatever.
Anyways,
I think it's a clear winner.
We have a clear winner. Cody had Dansby Swanson, 3 more hits.
You know, I'm just going to keep riding the wave, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I didn't take it because I thought maybe he cooled off. He only had 1 hit on Sunday, and I thought, well, maybe he cooled off. You know what's tough? Cody gets a point when he had 3 hits. He had 3 hits in the opener, and I got a point, but so did everybody else. But I'm just going to say, all right.
Came 1 leg short on the hit parlay, thanks to Jonathan.
Cody's 2-0.
0 for 5.
Ryan and I
like that,
are
right?
1-1. Corey is
Also
1-0. Oh no, 1-1. Yeah,
He did.
he had a pick tonight too.
Adam
So
Rios.
Ryan, Corey, and I are all 1-1.
Cody's
and Joey
up 2-0.
is 0-1.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay.
Sorry.
Fine by me, honestly.
Real quick, since we're out of time,
My favorite part of the tie was taking the lead.
Hayden Wesneski.
Yeah.
Yes, that was your favorite part of the game. Hayden Wesneski gets his first start of the season. Excited to see what he's going to do against the Reds tomorrow, mostly because I predicted on one of our podcasts last week, which I took a lot of heat about today, was that I think he'll have a better season than Michael Kopech, which Sox fans got all mad at me about. We'll see what happens tomorrow.
The guy who gave up 5 bombs today.
Now I hope I didn't jinx him, but I think Wesneski comes out, stops the bleeding tomorrow.
Because of what you just said, I think you should be banned from taking Wisniewski tomorrow.
No, I'm taking him tomorrow.
Well, you can't do that until the lineup comes out.
12:01.
No, it's when the lineup comes out.
The lineups are he's pitching.
The lineup has to come out. We agreed on that. Also, real quick,
I'm
real quick.
sending it before you.
Real
Commissioner
quick.
makes the rules.
Jordan Bastion also tweeted about Patrick Wisdom's clean X-rays, but he added Patrick Wisdom said he was still tender in the game after hit by pitch, but that did not play into the decision to have him bunt in the 7th inning.
No, because he was swinging after that.
So, but I'm just saying, like that.
Anyone
that's
What
not
did
why.
actually
play into
thought
it? That's
that.
what I really want
That's
to
what we
know.
want to know, and I don't have
play
anything.
into the bunt
I don't-
decision.
Don't have
Right.
anything yet.
Yeah. I don't-
Wesneski, you ready for it?
I'm ready, and I swear to God, I'm not letting you take him.
Just
Not that we
12:01.
do
no,
not any
when
of
the
that
lineup
energy.
comes out. You got to be ready from the lineup comes
All
out.
last season, you banned me from taking a pitcher. If I take him and he struggles, then I'm banned for 2 weeks from taking a pitcher.
Just-
That's
I
all
cannot.
part of the new rules.
I can't take Wisniewski being bad tomorrow, Luke.
My goodness.
I can't take it. We need.
If I
we
can't,
need
let
him
me
to shove
all right,
tomorrow.
If I can't take him, nobody can take
You
him.
can take him. You just got to be the first one to say it after the lineup
If
comes out.
I'm not allowed to take him, nobody's taking him.
You can take him, but the
Commissioner's
lineup
rule.
has to come out.
Thanks for
Luke.
checking out the
You can
CHGO
take
Cubs
him if you
Podcast
get it.
presented by DraftKings, America's top-rated sportsbook. Make sure you download the app. Use the promo code CHGO when you sign up. Back for a post-game show after Game 2 of the series coming up on Tuesday. Thanks for the super chats. We appreciate you. Until tomorrow, fly the W.